What's going on, guys? Teen Mechanic here. If you didn't catch the last major video that I've uploaded, I introduced this 2002 Toyota Camry, and it had, well, at least it was pitched to me as a blown head gasket. Well, I've actually since recorded a couple YouTube shorts that I never actually got around to posting. Seems like it's going to be a little bit more than that, but in this video, instead of putting an engine in it and things like that, which we may end up having to do, the problem is there's none available. I'm going to see, I might end up having to salvage this engine, but let's see if it starts first. Here we go. Oh, she'll go. She would, but I don't really care about that right now. Basically, what I'm going to do is, because these 2.4 liters have a problem with the head bolts stripping right out of the head. Oh, and the oil cap is off. There you go. Okay. But what I'm going to do is pull the head off in this video, and we're going to see if those threads are stripped out of the block. Because if they are, then I'm just going to have to either find a way to do inserts or get a whole new motor, and I'd really much rather not have to do that. Anyway, it's really not going to be fun, but I'm going to do it anyway. It shouldn't be all that hard. I mean, at least it's easy to get to. Just little things like this. The trouble is I'm going to be having to take all this crap off this side of the motor because I got to take the timing cover off. That's going to be probably the most annoying thing. I don't know. We'll see what we can do here. There's just tap water in the system, no coolant, so I don't have to worry about really draining that. But yeah, anyway, let's get on with it. All right, just for kicks, we'll see if she'll do one last final startup on this head gasket. Nope. Okay, so the quickest possible breakdown I can give is, well, I'm going to start by disconnecting the battery, and then I'm going to actually, instead of unbolting accessories, I'm going to take the coils and valve cover off. I just want to see what the valve train looks like. That's when I'll start, I'll start getting rid of all this stuff. I should probably also drain the oil, considering there's a ton of Harvey's milkshake in there. So yeah, I'm thinking I'm going to end up draining the oil pretty soon because I don't want it to rust anything, and then I got to do a whole cooling system flush and everything like that. You can even see the amount of milk underneath here, so it's definitely got a blown head gasket. The thing is, like I said, I want to see if the head bolt, well, really the I guess you'd call them the head bolt holes, have stripped out, if the threads have stripped out of the block for the head bolts. So I want to see if I have any way of salvaging this engine, because they just aren't available. You just can't find them. So it depends on the condition of the block and the bottom end. The head, I can get a new one. Yeah, I mean, even though a brand new head is $900, which is not what I'm going to do. But, you know, still. Now, also, the head bolts on this guy are M10 triple squares, which is really annoying because I couldn't find my triple square set, so I had to spend a whole lot of extra time on that. So it's just annoying that Toyota couldn't have used, perhaps 9/16 like everyone else. No, because this is a 10mm car. Anyway, yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and get this valve cover off first, which is very simple. Just going to take these coils out, take all the bracketry and hoses off, and then this thing will pop right off. Another thing worth mentioning is the mount for my tripod has just broken as of yesterday. So that is very inconvenient for me because I'm going to end up having to film most of this by hand and skip over parts that I would otherwise film. But yeah, so basically, just going to get these coils out. This is an incredibly easy part. I'm actually going to also disconnect this negative battery terminal before I forget, because, it's in my blood to forget things like that. So there we go. Disconnect that. Lots of corrosion on it. This battery is basically dead anyway. I'm going to go ahead and unplug all these coils, which is apparently easier said than done. Okay, this here, I think, has just qualified as the easiest valve cover job I think I've ever done in my entire life. Wow. Okay. You can see there's lots of milkshake in here. It's got a relatively, well, it looks like a newer gasket. Doesn't matter, it's getting replaced anyway, but let's take a look at this valve train here. So, okay, that's not wear, that's just milkshake. Okay, so you can see, because this is a timing chain motor, which is very helpful, except when you're doing a head gasket, but whatever. Yeah, okay, so let me make sure that's the right size socket that I found for the head bolts. It looks like the camshafts have to come out, which is very, very annoying, but I can see that this looks like the right size, so I don't know. I'm hoping that it is. I don't know how these camshafts come out, so I'm going to have to figure that out myself. Let me see if there's an exposed head bolt. Yes, there is. Check it out. And it's the wrong size. Check it out. Cool, man. Oh, wait. What the hell's going on here? Shit, take a look at that. You see that? That is very clearly a triple square. But taking a look at that, you can see that's a hex. That's a hex. That's a triple square. So that doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but whatever. We'll figure that out. I'm sure, yeah, that's not supposed to be like that, but whatever. We'll figure it out. I'm going to have to just find a different socket. Anyway, yeah, so valve train looks good. Now I'm going to start, and that's, keep in mind, 408,000 kilometers. I'm not sure what that is in miles. That's on screen right now, but that's a lot of mileage, and this actually doesn't look so bad, so I'm impressed with that. But yeah, so, yeah, okay, I'm going to go ahead and start pulling this crap off, and I'm going to find the right size socket. Look at this. Headers on a Toyota, right? Those are headers, yeah, right? Right? Now, anyway, that heat shield is off now. I've got most of this crap off here. I've got the alternator off. This is a freaking cakewalk. I watched a video on YouTube, I don't know how long ago. I don't know. A couple of days ago now. And it was just like, you know, I watched it just because, you know, I've never pulled a head off of one of these Toyotas before. So I wanted to just see if he went through the process. He didn't. He skipped through it all. But anyway, I just remember him saying how difficult it was, even just to get your hands in here, and like, this has been so far a cakewalk. And keep in mind, I'm used to working with old cars. You know, modern cars have always been a lot more challenging, obviously, but in this case, no, this is super easy. So props to Toyota for making this such an easy job. I'm really, really thrilled with that. Now, what I'm gonna do, the coolant, I think I'm going to drain the coolant and the oil. Coolant first, obviously, because there is just a little bit of coolant in the system. Actually, no, there's not going to be enough. Oh, there's like none in there, man. So yeah, I'm going to drain whatever's left then. And then, yeah, we're almost there. So I'm not sure. I don't believe the water pump has to come off in order to get to the timing cover, because the timing cover, unfortunately, does have to come off. But there's not a whole lot left. Basically, this motor mount is super easy to take off, and then just take it off from the timing cover. So that's super easy. The manifold obviously does have to come off, but really that's not difficult either, because it runs on a flex pipe, so I don't have to unbolt anything other than those. What, five nuts? That's super easy. The camshafts are going to be interesting. Shouldn't be too difficult, and the thing is, apparently this head makes noise, so I'm not so sure if it's going to need a valve adjustment, or if it needs shims or what. But we're gonna have to figure that out as well. Okay, I've come a little bit further here. I've got the, like, literally this is like, I'm not, it looks like I'm skipping far ahead, but I'm really not. That was those two bolts. It turns out you do have to take the manifold right off, because I actually rounded a nut, and it's just worth just taking it off this flange. It's two bolts. It's readily accessible. Like, you don't have to do much. I didn't even have to jack it up. I just put some penetrating fluid on there. Again, very easily accessible, and just broke those two loose. And then these 5 come off, and the whole thing just comes right off. Now, tell me if you can tell which one had the coolant leak and which cylinder has the blown head gasket. Well, based off of that, it looks like 2. You guys should tell me which 2. I wonder if you guys can tell which 2. That's a tough one. Anyway, yeah, okay, so... Oh, and the fuel rail, I think, is the other thing I didn't mention. 2 bolts, and I unplugged the connectors, and that thing basically fell out, which is not a good sign, but it came right out very easily. Okay, so the trouble now is going to be the whole timing cover, because, you know, basically, you have to take this crank pulley off to get to the other part of the cover there, and it also looks like I'm going to have to deal with the oil pan. So that's really freaking annoying. But I guess that's the way it goes. I hope that's keyed. That's the thing. I really hope that is keyed and isn't like that stupid Ford, what Ford has decided to do, and make it not keyed. So I think it should be okay. I just pray it will be. I really don't want to have to start dealing with timing components. Okay, so getting that crank pulley off is far easier than I expected. You've got a 19mm, which I'm using a 3/4, but whatever. 19mm crank bolt. This pulley slid off very easily, and it is keyed, thank God, at least the pulley is. This is when you need to have an impact, because if you don't, you're going to spin the engine over, which I actually did do on purpose to get the timing marks where they needed to be. But yeah, so now that is set properly, I believe. At least I hope it is. If it's not, then whatever. Anyway, yeah, so I am going to see about pulling this timing cover off now, and yeah, we're going to get on with it. Okay, so it's actually several days later now, and I mean several days, weeks actually later. Yeah, so I'll show you how far we've come. Basically, this is what I've done. The timing cover is basically off, although I don't know why it's all of a sudden so... Oh, I think that's the only thing holding the engine up right now. Interesting. Okay, so anyway, I gotta get that jack under there ASAP. But yeah, so anyway, I am going to end this video here. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a like. If you didn't, give it a dislike. Blah, blah, blah. That was kind of just pulling it apart. I've decided to stop and remove the head when the engine is off or out of the car. So let's pull the engine out now. That's what I'm going to do, but in the next video. So stay tuned for the next video. I'll see you all very soon in the next video. Yeah, stay tuned. It's going to be great. So yeah, anyway, see you soon. Bye-bye.